Good afternoon. I'm Michael Kramer, CEO of the Corporate Source. I'd like to welcome you to TCS's Celebrating Work, a Labor of Love, a virtual conversation with Judith Heumann. Even though we're not celebrating with you in person as we did last year, we are still united in our shared mission of achieving employment equity for people with differing abilities. Whether you've joined us today as a board member, TCS employee, collaborative partner, family member, colleague, or community supporter, we count you as our friend. We truly appreciate your support in helping TCS fulfill our ongoing mission throughout New York City, Long Island, and the Caribbean to create employment opportunities for individuals with differing abilities and provide services leading to independence and fulfillment. You're going to hear from some truly remarkable individuals who are dispelling myths and demonstrating the accomplishments of what people can do if given the opportunity to prove themselves. Our staff are our greatest asset, demonstrating tenacity, courage, and spirit. TCS at its best every single day for our customers. You'll get to know a few of them today, including Maria and Matt, who'll offer a personal look into their work and family lives, and Rose and William, who'll be leading the way as TCS interviewers of our very special guest, Judith Heumann. Judy's remarkable resume includes serving as the World Bank's first advisor on disability and development, being past Assistant Secretary of Education under the Clinton administration, serving as President Obama's representative to the United Nations as Special Advisor for International Disability Rights. Judy's also a disability rights activist and author, and we are truly honored to have her share her insights and perspectives with us all today. It's rare that we have the opportunity to hear directly from someone who has contributed so much to our society. 2020 celebrates key milestones in the journey for disability access and employment opportunity, including the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the 75th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which we celebrate every October. Thank you for sharing in today's dialogue to commemorate our history, our achievements, our mission, and our continued commitment to achieve employment equity for all. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the Development and Engagement Manager for the Corporate Source, Linda Berman.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to our valued roster of corporate and community supporters who have made this program possible. Premier sponsors Ocean Janitorial and ABM. Platinum sponsors Summit International and Pfizer. Silver sponsors Lamb Insurance and Answer Human Assets. And bronze sponsors Palma Rojas, GSA National, Benefit Mall, JM Pension Advisory, Grassi & Associates, Lilling & Company, Spartan, and Cannon & Acosta Law Firm. Let's give our loyal partners a hearty round of applause. If you clap loud enough, maybe we'll hear you right here in the studio. In this next hour, you'll hear how TCS's mission comes to life every single day through our determined employees. I hope you'll feel inspired by our stories. Please help us continue to offer individuals with differing abilities the opportunity to be part of the world of work and discover the purpose, productivity, and pride that comes from this. If you're moved by what you hear tonight, please consider donating to support TCS's continued efforts. This year we have a couple of milestones to celebrate. Feel free to make a $100 TCS mission donation, $75 NADIM donation, or $30 to commemorate the ADA's 30th anniversary. Your valued support will make a critical impact on even more lives. We are so grateful for your support. Just visit thecorporatesource.org/donate at any time.
Matthew has been with Corporate Source for 14 years, which I can't believe is 14 years already. He's been there since 2006. He's a custodian. He takes that profession of being a custodian and he puts it right here in the household. So he does a lot of chores for us. He helps out in the morning. He is mom's best helper, but his routine is he gets up. He's always religious with his breakfast. It's almost like a regular schedule. He actually drives to work. He's been driving for, quite a few years now. I'm not even going to try to think how many. I tell you, it's a wonderful story when you see it firsthand as a parent, that what was 20 years ago and what is today, and I will attribute a lot of his success to be a more functional person, comes from his working and being, part of Corporate Source and that, and the help and support that he has gotten there. And they're understanding that, special needs people need special understanding at certain times. He's been there 14 years, and it gives him self-esteem too as a worker, that he feels like, he's contributing to society. He'll tell me stories about his conversation and how much they appreciate him and the work that he does. So there is a reward at that level, at a judge, a Supreme Court judge, or just a regular judge, that, that he's feeling that he's contributing. When payday comes and he knows that check is in the computer, I will just call it, in the computer online, he's already got my printer going. He's printing that check out, puts it on the table, and he'll point out, I got 4 hours overtime, pretty good, right? And I said, no, that's really nice, So, that first paycheck to the last paycheck's been about almost the same excitement, So, yeah, that is something that near and dear to him.
And then there's Maria, who's been with the Corporate Source since 2013. She begins her day with a healthy breakfast. Maria loves granola with yogurt. Before heading off to work, she spends a little time with her passion, creating mesmerizingly colored patterns that have been exhibited at the Art League of Long Island. She considers her co-worker Josh Berman and her supervisor Anne-Marie Ashley White to be her work family. Maria has remained in the position for which she was hired, a mailroom clerk at the Internal Revenue Service in Bethpage, where she brings her positivity and dedication to her job every day to do her best for her IRS customers. The Corporate Source continues to fill job openings and meet outsourcing needs with talented and qualified candidates, just like Maria and Matthew.
Hello, I'm Margaret Brown, the Chief Operating Officer of the Corporate Source. TCS provides a wide range of outsourcing services to federal, state, and private sector customers. Our lines of business includes total facilities management, janitorial services, call center operations, mailroom support, kennel care services, and much more. We are proud to be creating competitive employment opportunities for people with disabilities while meeting the essential needs of the clients we serve throughout New York City, Long Island, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'd like to introduce two of our TCS team members, Rose Ranger and William Skerritt, who will be serving as our interviewers for today's program. Rose has been employed by TCS for the past 2 years as a switchboard operator at the Manhattan VA Medical Center. She answers incoming calls to the VA hospital, routing calls to the person or department they need. She also handles all emergency notifications throughout the hospital. She is a part of a team at TCS that is proud to be serving our veterans. William Skerritt joined TCS in 2000 at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, providing janitorial services. He has grown with our organization for the past 20 years. William transferred to one of our state contracts, Nassau County Courts, in 2008. Then again to our Human Resources Administration contract in 2010. He was honored for his excellent work by being recognized as the New York Industries for the Disabled 2015 Jocelyn Award winner. Please join me in welcoming Rose and William.
Hello, everybody. My name is Judy Heumann. I am a 72-year-old, people say I don't look that old, but I am, a white woman with brown hair about under my ears. I'm wearing a sweater, which is red with black lines. I use a motorized wheelchair, which you can't see right now. We're in the foyer of my home, and you can see various pictures on the wall of family and different memorabilia. Rose, you want to explain to everybody what you're wearing, how you look?
Yes, my name is Rose Ranger, and I'm a 52-year-old woman. Today I'm wearing a black skirt, a black and white shirt inside and a pink blazer. I also am a person with disability and I ride in a motorized wheelchair.
And you're wearing a very lovely mask
Thank you.
in classes. And William, want to tell everybody what you're wearing?
I'm wearing a nice sport coat. It's like a blazer. It looks nice with my shirt. I like the combination. And I'm a jeans guy, so when it's just casual, I like to dress my jeans, dark color jeans with dressy shoes, and like what you see like this. And I get along with everyone. If someone can spark a conversation, I like to have a good conversation with whatever topic. You know, I just like to speak to people and be around people.
And William is also wearing a lovely gray mask.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's lovely with his gray jacket, and
Yeah.
I can't quite tell whether it's a checkered shirt, and I can't tell, is it purple and white? Whatever it is, it looks very nice with the gray jacket.
Thank you. I tried to coordinate the colors with the mask.
Val, you did a great job. So, Rose, you're going to ask the first question. Take it away.
So my first question, in the beginning of your career, you become the first person to challenge the New York City Board of Education to become a teacher. You also were instrumental in the passage of the American with Disability Act. What motivated you to become an activist?
So I guess, this plus what we were talking about a few minutes ago with the ripple effect of dropping a petal in the water and it's like dropping a stone in the water and you see a ripple effect in the water. I would say that when I was younger, I had polio in 1949. When I was younger, I really began to learn, as I was becoming a teenager, for example, that when I was with other disabled people who were experiencing the same forms of discrimination. And so let me talk for a couple of minutes about what that form of discrimination was. Being denied the right to go to school when I was 5 because I was considered a fire hazard, then only being able to go to classes when I was in the middle of the 4th grade and only with children who had disabilities, and I wasn't learning, nor were the other students, we weren't learning like the non-disabled children. And I noticed that my mother and my father would be talking about their concern about what I wasn't getting. And then they also started to talk with other parents who had children with disabilities who were also concerned about what we weren't learning. And so you could see this ripple effect, my parents talking to other parents, agreeing that there was a problem, and then the parents beginning to talk with the Board of Education about making sure that those of us who used wheelchairs would be able to go to high school and winning on that. So multiple examples of where I would be involved, my parents would be involved, other people would be involved in taking what appeared originally to be a problem that an individual person like you, William, or you, Rose, were facing, and recognizing that no, we were not the only individual people experiencing this. And so when I look at the Americans with Disabilities Act and Section 504, these are two very important pieces of legislation, federal legislation, and what I was experiencing, as I was saying, many, many other people, what we were experiencing was recognizing that if we work together, we can begin to make bigger changes.
Yes.
And we were looking at making changes that didn't just affect a few people, but we were looking at making changes that could affect many other people. And that's really what happened with the Board of Education. When I decided I wanted to be a teacher and I applied to be a teacher, I passed, I took the appropriate number of courses at college. I went to Long Island University in Brooklyn.
That's great.
And I applied to take my exams. I had to take a written exam and an oral exam and a medical exam. And I was denied my teaching license because I failed my medical exam. And the reason I failed my medical exam in writing was that I couldn't walk because I had polio. Now, in 1971, there were no federal laws that made that illegal, but it clearly was illegal. And so, again, working with my friends and my family, I was able to get a lawyer and file a lawsuit, and we were able to win. So I actually did become a teacher in Brooklyn for 3 years. And then, this ripple effect of working with other people and really having a goal of being able to have legislation that would help protect disabled people around the United States. That's really why we began to work for Section 504 and ADA.
What experience have given you your greatest feelings and accomplishments? And what are the issues that continue to motivate and drive you now?
So, my experiences that have given me the most feeling of accomplishment is when I work with many people and when we're able to solve problems. So it could be helping one person resolve a problem, but it also could be where many of us are working, for example, on employment of disabled people. So when looking at how to address issues of employment of disabled people, it's important for, first of all, those of us with disabilities to believe that we can work, to make sure that we're being given, and this is, I think, a role for, hiccups. This is the role for parents of children with disabilities, that the parents need to recognize that children need to be encouraged and to believe that they're going to be able to work when they grow up. And so being able to work with families, with adults, and really helping people not only aspire to get a job, but like in your case, both of you have disabilities, I have a disability, being able to talk to other people with disabilities and to be able to demonstrate, you see, I can work, William can work, Rose can work, you both have different jobs, I have a different job. There are many different things that we can do. And then, sometimes we need an organization like the Corporate Source that can really help you learn more about how to do a resume, how to do a job interview, how to get support while you're working if you need help so that you can address problems. These are things that make me feel accomplished. When we can see more people going to school, integrated in school, staying in school, continuing to get education, being able to get jobs, identifying other barriers like transportation or services in our homes, and continuing to work on those problems, that makes, I think, all of us, I know both of you, feel good that you're not just doing your job, but you're acting and helping other people.
This year is the 30th milestone of the ADA, which has greatly improved access and opportunity for people with disabilities, but still remain an inspirational goal in many ways. Witnessing all these changes that have occurred in our society, what do you see the failure look like for people with disability, with differing disabilities?
So I think the future is what we're looking at. Where are we now and where do we need to go? And the future is in our hands, but it's also in the hands of many.
Yes.
And I believe we really also have to talk about COVID and the effect that COVID is having on our lives and the lives of our families and our communities. So the future for me means that we are also expanding the number of disabled people that are acknowledging they have a disability. You know, for a long time, we didn't have good numbers, but now we know that there are 61 million disabled people in the United States. That's a huge number. And that includes people with physical disabilities, with intellectual disabilities, with mental health disabilities, like depression or anxiety, or lupus, or cancer, or diabetes, or hypertension, many, many different things. But in many ways, people, particularly with invisible disabilities, may not even know they have a disability, or if they do, they may not talk about it. So for me, I think it's very important that as we move forward, we get more and more of those 61 million disabled people and their families. So we could be talking about at least 120 million people or more that are affected, that we talk about what it is that's going on in our life, what types of barriers are we experiencing, what do we think needs to be done. So, you know, I think about transportation. We need to make sure, for example, that we have a strong public transit system
Yes.
that is really accessible to disabled individuals and others, that is safe, that we can use. And I know that in New York City, for example, there have been some problems where the government, in fact, did not do what they were supposed to do when they were renovating stations, train stations. So people are fighting to get those train stations accessible. I would like, ideally, that the community would be strong enough so that we wouldn't have to go back and try to address a problem, but rather that it didn't become a problem because we addressed it from the beginning. So when I think about the Americans with Disabilities Act, for example, I think it's very important that disabled people, like all of us, understand what the ADA is. I think too many people have not gotten the information about what the ADA is and how it can help our lives. So I would say expanding the number of disabled people and family members that are actively fighting for disability rights, that we help ensure that people are aware of ADA and 504 and IDEA and city laws and state laws, so that we can feel more empowered, more knowledgeable. So technical assistance, I think, is very, very important. And then we need to go beyond. So I don't know about you, Rose, but I presume that you may need help in your home, helping get up, get dressed. I do. I need someone that helps me up in the morning, that can help me get bathed, get dressed, get ready for work. But in many cases, it's a problem for people to get both the money that they need for the services, as well as people who can come and are working with us, and people that are getting paid an appropriate wage. So when I think about the future, I think expanding the number of disabled people who identify looking at what is working and what's not, what is a matter of making sure that the laws we have are implemented effectively, but what more do we need? Another area I think we need more is we need more money in job training and job support for disabled people. And we need more money to train the business community on what their obligations are. And then I also believe we need what we call stricter enforcement. In other words, the ADA, for example, it's the federal government's responsibility to make sure if there's job discrimination, to look at whether there's been discrimination and how to address it. I want government agencies to be doing a better job of enforcement. I want them to have the resources so that when discrimination occurs, they can help the individual person or the class of people address those problems. So I think we have a lot more work to do, but we also have a growing disability rights movement that if we can help expand that movement, can allow us to continue to move forward. And the reason I mentioned COVID is because there are many changes that are going on in our society. And I really believe we have to fight to make sure that disabled people are a meaningful part of the discussions that people are having about what to do over the next year as we move out of COVID, as people are moving back into the world of work, and the kinds of supports we need to make sure, and training that disabled people may need in order to get jobs.
I have a question about recommendation. What recommendation do you have for the business community to provide diversity and increase disability employment?
Great question, William. Thank you. So I think it's important that the leadership of the business community within their organization is working with their senior leadership and their staff and their customers, okay, and are really looking at what is the business doing to recruit disabled prospective employees, what is the business doing with the people who've identified as having disabilities who are working for the company. They need to listen to what are people saying is working well and what are the barriers, what needs to be changed. And they need to really be working with their human resources offices to make sure that they are recruiting, that they also are working with disabled people like yourselves who are currently working, listening to what you're saying. And we as disabled employees need to feel safe that we can be speaking about what is working and where there may need to be changes. We need to be open to that. And I think it's also employers working with other employers, learning about examples of what is happening to improve the work going on within the business, joining organizations like the National Organization on Disability and organizations like Disability In, where there are many different businesses that are coming together to talk about how to be more inclusive of disability in the diversity work that they're doing. I also think that it's important for businesses to talk to their customers, you know, the people who are benefiting from the service, to find out what do those customers believe the company could be doing better, so that as a customer, they would be interested in not only purchasing whatever may be sold, but also in telling their friends, this is a good company. They care about disability. They hire disabled people. I can see it in their advertising when they're doing job announcements, or if they're doing television announcements or whatever. I see disabled people as a part of their work. I want to go to that company because they're looking at diversity for Black people, Latino people, women, gay and lesbian people, and disabled people who are also part of all those different communities.
So my last question to you, Judy, is TCS is focused on creating employment opportunities for individuals with disability so that we may all feel a sense of purpose, productivity, and pride. You have been such an inspiration to many throughout your career. What advice would you give to people today as they pursue their own work and careers?
Thank you for the question. So I think one of the issues that's important is to look at how old are the people that are looking to their future. So if we start with children, disabled children, for example, I think it's very important, as I said a few minutes ago, that their parents believe that their children will grow up and can get a job. And in order to help that happen, the parents need to be meeting other disabled adults who are working in different jobs. And I think it's important for the disabled adults to also meet the children. You know, for me, I don't know about either of you, but for me, when I was growing up, I didn't know a lot of disabled people that were working. And I didn't know a lot of disabled people that were working in many different jobs. So the people that I knew were working in, accounting or speech therapy or other kinds of working in a restaurant. But I hadn't met any of those people. So it's important that disabled children and their parents are meeting other people and can begin to have a dream. I mean, I think dreaming is very important for every child. And the way a child can really have a good dream about what they can do is that they can read about it. They can see disabled people in children's books. They see disabled children in what they're watching on television or streaming or whatever it's called. But if we don't see ourselves, and now I think, we need to talk about the word seeing, because you can see that Rose and I have a physical disability. But I believe, William, your disability is invisible. And so we need to be able to also have people whose disability is not so easily known be able to be talking and be a part of children's programs so that kids feel a part of it. Now, when kids are teenagers and they're beginning to think about the future, it's important, again, not only that they see other people who are working, but now you're getting into a more serious discussion. What are the kinds of classes you maybe should be taking in high school? Are you going to be getting any internships? How could you get an internship? What do you need in order to be able to get to your internship? And I think, when you're becoming like a junior or a senior in high school, getting what we call mentors, someone who's working in the field who could possibly help you, be a support, maybe have them invite you to their company to see the kind of work that's going on. So you, as a disabled person, get an opportunity to really not only think about what your dream is, but you get to actually see it. For those people that are going on to school after high school, whether it's community college or some form of a training program or university, again, it's strengthening that dream, letting people see what's possible. And when I say what's possible, I don't mean limited by what people are saying we can't do. Because I'm sure the two of you, like me, were told by many people what we couldn't do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? So I think why the knowing disabled people, having friends with disabled people, and getting this kind of support allows people to see what's possible. Like today, I can't be a bus driver. But with all the changes that are going on with automated driving, someday a blind person may be able to be a bus driver. Who knows? So that's why it's kind of the world is your oyster. I also think it's very important that, when you do start working and you do have a disability, that you have networks of people you can talk to. So a friend or a group of friends who you can maybe talk to about what's working. But if there's a problem going on at work and you don't know how to speak to somebody about it, or you feel like you're not being listened to by your supervisor, being able to have someone to talk to is helpful. I want to bring in another group of people, and that are people who are non-disabled and then for one reason or another become disabled when they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Maybe they were working before. Maybe they can continue in their job. But if they don't see themselves being able to continue to work, and if the company they're working for isn't really encouraging them by helping make adjustments to the job, or if they really can't do the job they had before, helping them look for another job, we need to be talking with people who will become disabled and allow people to see who we are, what we're able to do, and to meet other people like themselves who became disabled later, but were able to continue to move forward. So I think, disability is unusual because we're not all born with our disabilities, and most of us actually don't have our disabilities when we're younger. So it's a complicated answer, but I think it's something that the entire society needs to be involved with.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Miss Heumann.
Call me Judy.
Judy? Okay.
Judy. So I just want to add this before I you spoke about my entire life just now. I wasn't born disabled, but I became disabled as I grew up in my 40s. And I used to do regular job, of course, active, up and down, all around, so on and so forth. But when I became disabled, and I was trying to figure out, how am I going to survive? I need to work. I love to work. I want to work. And I started going back to school and so on and so forth. And when I started going for interview, I will go online and I do my application, send my resume. And when I show up, sometimes the people's eyes are open wide, like, what is she doing here?
Right. Right.
And it makes me feel so ashamed. But something in me told me that you keep going. Somebody's going to say yes.
Someone, eventually.
And it eventually happened. So yes, you just, that's my whole life story right there. So I just want to thank you again because when I read a part of your book, I'm like, wow, this is something else. Thank you for being an advocate for all of us.
Well, where people are talking about all the great things I've done, but the reality is William and Rose and all the other people, we're all doing things.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that we recognize that we all play a very important role, and that each one of us and the millions of other people out there need to be respected for the role that we're playing. And I'm from Brooklyn. I've got a loud mouth. I like to talk a lot, but there are other people who make wonderful contributions in many different ways. And so I think we need to thank each other for our resilience, our ability to, as you were saying, Rose, going from being a non-disabled person to becoming a disabled person, that in and of itself is, I didn't really experience it because I was less than 2 years old when I had polio. But there are millions of people out there like you, who really could use support from people like you, who can talk about what did it feel like when this was happening? How did your family treat you? Did people have the same expectations that you had? And, what was it that you were able to do to bring that strength forward? And William, for you, so you want to talk like a minute or so about, yeah.
My story is a little different. When I was in high school, in Walton High School, I was in special ed education. And I graduated with an IEP diploma. I've taken the GED a while back when I worked in the academy. And at the time, I almost passed it by a few points. But at the time I was stressed with some other personal situation. But if I wasn't so stressed, I would have passed and got my GED. And I say education because education is an important role in life, because that's when you communicate with other people, you can speak well, and my reading has gotten better because I like to read sometimes, Education is something is the key to open up doors to move forward. You know what I'm saying? And when I took the GED, I requested for extra time. And at the school where I was in Great Neck, the teachers there helped me. So I put together a letter, and they just edited it. And the community from Great Neck came, and I had to stand up and speech and ask them, read myself and explain to them, I would like to have this recommendation. I've been here for a while. I've been working hard, and I got it. And I feel so great that I gave me the extra time to take the GED. And I wouldn't think I was going to get it because, you got to work hard, you got to study at home, you got to do everything. So, long story short, I almost passed by a few points. And I felt great that they gave me the opportunity to get an extension. Now most people don't get that extra time on GED,
Right.
So, my next goal is, look into that. And if even I'm 55, I have to take the GED. I'll take the G again to see if I pass this time. But where I'm at right now, I'm happy because I work with the corporate source and I like what I do. But just to a step further up, I would like to just take my GED sometime and feel great and proud of myself.
And you got an award in 2015.
Yes.
That's work, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say, William, that I think there's another important point here. That when you were in school, I wouldn't be surprised if part of the problem is you weren't getting a good education. Because that was definitely what my experience was when I was in special education. They didn't really have the same expectations. And I love teachers, I'm a teacher, but many of the teachers are not getting the training they need. And so, as students, the students aren't getting what they need. And so I think, for you, I don't know if you work with parents or with kids, but, sometimes speaking with parents and other children and talking with them, exactly as you're saying, getting support to learn how to read, really looking at getting a regular high school diploma. Too frequently, young people are being given these IEP diplomas because they didn't have a strong enough plan in place.
That's right.
Not everybody will necessarily get a regular diploma, but I think too many kids who've been identified as having disabilities are not getting a regular diploma because their parents don't know enough. The school district needs to do more. The State Department of Education needs to be more rigorous on enforcement of the law, and the federal government needs to do a better job also. And the reason I'm going to say something about COVID again is, we have to be worried about the children that are now not able to go to school, including the disabled children. And we're really going to have to be looking at what kinds of additional education are these children, disabled and non-disabled children, going to be able to get over the next couple of years to help them catch up. Yes. And we also have to look at the budgets, how money is being spent. so that more money can be spent on education. Because otherwise, it's going to have an increasing adverse effect on disabled kids and poor kids, people of color, poor kids. So I'm really glad that we've been able to do this, and also to hear your stories.
Yeah, this is a very special moment for me to just to hear you and for me to explain you my experience. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you both for having me.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah.
On behalf of everyone at the Corporate Source, thank you so much for sharing your advice and encouragement to encourage all of us to advocate for disability and inclusive and equity. We just want to thank you so much, Judy.
Very much.
Well, I want to thank everyone. That's what we should do. We thank all of us who are working the same way. And hopefully I'll see you someday in person.
I hope so too.
I hope so too. I'm looking forward.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you for having us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye.
I want to take the opportunity to thank our Corporate Source staff. You guys have worked tirelessly through this pandemic. You guys are the backbone of this entire operation. We obviously couldn't do this without you. You guys have exceeded your mandate in every aspect. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Working for the Corporate Source is I get along really well with my coworkers. I find my supervisors to be very approachable. Any questions or any problems you may have, they're more than willing to help you out. And I like the customers in the building, and I just like the overall job.
Hi, my name is Michael. I like Corporate Source because they gave me an equal opportunity for employment.
Doy gracias a mi esposa por trabajar en el lugar donde trabaja en la compañía Corporate Source. Ella trabaja ahí desde el 2006. Y gracias a la señora Ana Santiago por ayudarla a triunfar en la compañía.
Hi, my name is Josh. I would just like to give a shout out to Maria. I enjoy working with you in the mailroom. You're an excellent morning worker. You do a great job remaining calm, cool, relaxed. And I continue to work with you for as long as we can. Keep up the great work, Maria. You're doing a fine job.
Hello, my name is Noel, supervisor at County Court, and I want to thank the Corporate Source staff for using their remarkable talents in keeping the building clean, safe, and disinfected. Keep up the good work, and I'm very proud of each of you.
I want you all to know how proud I am of my son, Stephen Babiak, and all the accomplishments he has made working with the Corporate Source since 2006. I would also like to thank Jermaine Parrish for all the help and support he has given him throughout the years.
Saludos. Mi nombre es Elsa Peguero. Yo soy la madre de Eliana Anderson. Estamos agradecidos por el equipo de The Corporate Source que ha mantenido a nuestros hijos trabajando durante este tiempo de pandemia, ofreciendo todo el equipo necesario para su protección. Queremos reconocer el esfuerzo de los empleados ante esta crisis sanitaria. Gracias por todo.
Hello, my name is Thelma. I'm Fred Connor's sister, and I'm with Fred Conn. Fred's been working at the Corporate Source since 2008, and I'm very proud of him. And I also want to thank his supervisor, Anna Santiago, and Andre for giving him the opportunity to work there. Thank you.
Thank you for giving my son Richard Pendit a chance to do what he knows to do best. Thank you for giving him the push, and have a safe and blessed and wonderful day.
Hi, I'm Myra, the project manager at the Nassau County Courts Contract. On behalf of myself, Mario, Noel, Antonio, and Chris, I would like to say thank you to our staff for the wonderful job that they do, not only now during this pandemic, but always. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you.
Hi, everyone. This is Kester Martin. I am Nicholas Martin's wife, and I just want to say thank you, Corporate Source. Thank you very much for having Nicole Martin working with you for this long.
Thank you again to our dedicated event sponsors for making this dynamic program possible. You've had the chance to meet several of us during Celebrating Work, a Labor of Love. We hope our stories and our mission have moved you. If so, please take a moment when this program concludes to support TCS's continued work by making a donation in honor of NADIM, the ADA, or our mission at thecorporatesource.org/donate. Thank you.
What a truly enlightening, insightful session that was. Thank you again to our honored guest, Judith Heumann, and of course, to our TCS staff, Rose, William, Maria, and Matt. And thank you again to all our dedicated event sponsors for making this informative program possible. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our staff in the New York metropolitan area and the Caribbean who have persevered through this pandemic and have continued to demonstrate what all people can accomplish. Let us never underestimate the importance of the pride and purpose that comes from the work one does. And I'd like to thank you, our friends and supporters, for joining us today and for cheering us on in our quest for greater disability inclusion, acceptance, and opportunity. Again, thank you for joining us and have a great evening.